All right, my name is Nick Mitchell. I'm the head wrestling coach at Grandview University. We're the 2012 NAI National Champions. And today we're going to go over some drills that we spent some time on here at Grandview. And one thing I'll tell you before we get started here, you'll notice a lot of these drills, I don't know what, we were talking about this before, you might call some drills like camp drills, things like a block and spin drill. These aren't really camp drills. I mean, these are more lifelike type of drills. They're situations that we think our guys are going to be in a lot. And what we're really trying to do is make it as lifelike as possible and try to get to a place where when they get into these situations, it's muscle memory, it's quick, they know right where to go to, and instead of working on something that may be more about positioning, this is about real life wrestling. All right, the first thing that we spent a lot of time working on with our guys is just some stance and motion, some different drills in there. And a couple of things that we're really trying to get across there is, number one, be real focused on your positioning, work on protecting your lead leg, and be aware of where your weight is, okay? So almost every year at the beginning of the year, it's one of the very first things we'll talk about with our guys is just their stance, and be real aware of where they're at and when they're positioning, okay? So, for me, I'm a right leg lead. When I'm in position, I got to focus on, a little bit where my weight is, and that means that if I'm real top heavy, my weight's forward, that means my head's probably going to be way over the top of my front foot, which is a bad sign. If I'm back on my heels, my head's going to be back. So you kind of want to look at, your toe and your knee and your shoulder and be aware of where you're at and really focus on bending at the knees. Trying to keep a straight back for the most part and be strong in here, always looking up and be able to be light on your feet so you can move either way. Okay, so for us that means, we get some guys in and we'll start working on stance and motion and working on, okay, I'm in good position, I bend at the knees, I'm trying not to be too straight-legged and bend over at the back, because here I'm in a strong, powerful stance. I can look for offense, I can look for defense right here, I can move my feet back and forth, side to side, and then also making sure that I'm protecting this lead leg. And that means as I drill and I go through, I want to visualize, I want to see this guy out in front of me. So if I'm going to make contact, I'm trying to close the gap. If I'm going to reach, I'm reaching with my opposite hand as my lead leg. I'm still protecting this lead leg as I close the gap. So we're here, we're moving here, moving here, moving here. Just making sure I'm protecting this lead leg at all times, okay? And as we go, we might add some things to it, talking about down blocking, sprawling and circling up. And this is a drill we'll do a lot, especially at the end of practice when the guys are fatigued. They've gone through a hard practice and they really have to focus on position more than anything. When they're tired, we'll put them through some drills here. So I'm going to have a couple guys go through a couple drills here and show you what this would look like. Here's what this drill might look like. Just starting off, Jimmy here, he's working on stance and motion. He's on his own. He's just moving. He's moving his feet, just staying in good position. And I might start yelling, okay, hit some down blocks. Okay, he's down blocking. He's protecting those lead legs, working on defense. Okay, now we're going to look to sprawl, circle up. Sprawling, circling up in good position. Again, sprawl, circle up in position. There you go. Now, one thing you'll notice there when Jimmy does that, he sprawls, he's turning his hip. He's turning his hip here, pointing that toe, circling up in position. In good position right there, not coming straight up. And that's one thing we really, when we're going through this, the coaches will be yelling, we'll make sure these guys, hey, stay in position, don't come up out of position. Okay, so a couple more times here. Okay, sprawling, circling up. Okay, now we're looking for some offense maybe. Hitting a shot, boom, back in position. Hitting a shot, in position. Okay, now putting a couple things together there. There it is, just like that, time. Good. So there's a real good example of some things we'll do as far as just stance and motion, but it all starts with good position. Bending at the knees, protecting those lead legs, and really be focused on not coming up. Don't have the tendency not to come up and bounce. You don't want to ever give that guy a chance to penetrate to the legs right there. Another drill here that we'll do a lot, just working on some shot defense. This isn't all about technique right here. It's just about good muscle memory, making sure we're doing the right things when we're beating a shot. And we're going to start with a single here. One guy's going to shoot just an outside single. And a couple things here. At first, Jimmy's going to be the guy shooting. Chad's going to be the guy reacting to the shot. Some things he's got to focus on if Jimmy shoots to Chad's left leg, okay, Jimmy takes a shot, he's taking that leg away. Notice his toe is pointed right here. The toe is pointed. He's not up on his shoelace right here. He's down on his shoelaces right there where he can stuff and slide down, create some space. Now, right now, his left hip is turned down. That's the shot. That's the side that Jimmy shot on. That's good, but he's got to make sure he covers now. He's got to turn those hips and circle behind. Right there. Okay, again. Point that toe, turn the hip, circle behind. Okay, now we'll have him do it on the other side. Just like that. Turn those hips. Good. So we'll go through that. One guy will go a couple times, then the other guy goes a couple times. Show that a couple more times here. Turn that hip, stuff, slide down. Good. All right. Okay. Okay, now moving on from there, the next thing, that's a single defense. Just a good drill to get used to turning those hips, covering the head, sliding down, coming around behind. Next would be same type of thing from a high crotch. Okay? And here's one thing that's real important. I think if Jimmy shoots a high crotch on me, really want to make sure our guys are out of the habit of doing this, bending over and trying to lock up around the waist or getting heavy right here. Right here, I'm still heavy. Okay? My hips are heavy. I'm tough here. I mean, he's in good position. It's going to be a battle right here, but I'm in a lot better position right here than I am if I go right here. The key for him is to get the weight off. Okay? And that means the weight off my hips. Okay? If I bend over, I put all this weight up here. It's pretty easy finish right now. Real easy for him to lift me right there. Okay? Real important for me right here. Keep my hips in and turn. We're trying to beat the angle right here. If Jimmy turns here, he beats me to the angle. I got to be able to beat this angle right here. Okay? So that's the same. That's what this drill is going to be all about. One guy's going to shoot a high crotch. The other guy is beating the angle. Turning those hips right here. Same thing. Now, and that's going to be how we'll start. We'll beat that angle a couple times. Now we want him to go all the way around behind and score. Boom. Right there. All the way behind. Watch his hips. Beat those just like that. One more time. Beating that angle. Good. Moving on here, some more drills on our feet. This one would be a drill more for like short offense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Jimmy start here on his hands and knees. Okay, and for short offense, if we want to get around behind this guy, you got to think, he's got a good solid base right here. He's got, this is, if he's a table, these are the legs. We got to knock something out. I really want to get him to his elbows right here. I'd like to be able to pull this guy forward, get the weight forward right here, and make him get heavy on this head. Okay, so a good drill, I'm just going to start. He's going to be up here on his hands and knees. I'm going to start right behind the armpits, right at the triceps, and I'm here. I'm going to take a little step back and just pull. Boom. Right here. We want to get him to his elbows. Okay? Now, this isn't 100% lifelike, but one thing we got to focus on is keeping our elbows in, keeping his head underneath my chest. Okay? I don't really want to be out here to the side where I feel like he can maybe come underneath. If I'm right here, if his head can come underneath my armpit, I don't feel real comfortable right there. Okay, so as we do this drill, we're still focusing on good position. Elbows are in. Head's covered. Okay, I might bump him a little bit. I'm going to pull him to his elbows and then start looking for a go behind right here. Okay, now when I talk about go behind, obviously I'm coming around behind, but I still have to make sure I keep weight on this arm. So my hand is going to turn thumb out. I'm making a C, but my hand turns from in to out right here. Okay, it's one of those little things that just puts a little bit more weight on that arm. That's what's going to allow me to get behind. Other hand comes across, blocking. Now, as I go behind, my head comes across. My chin's going to come across to the other side to keep the weight on. Then we're coming behind. Okay? It's real simple. It's not a lot of technique, but it gets these guys in the habit of pulling this guy forward, getting the weight up here towards his head, getting him off his hands and to his elbows. Here, boom, right here. Turn that hand, thumb out. Other hand's coming across the block. Up on my toes, chest up, head across, coming up the crotch or to the ankle. And try to break this guy down every time. As you drill this, make sure I pull this guy down here, boom. As I go behind, I have to make sure I'm not coming to the waist. Right here, just looking to get side rolled here. Okay, that's real important as we work on this. Talk to your guys about, I'm going to pull him down. Okay, I'm in good position to score right here. I block. I'm coming around behind. I'm coming ankle or right up the crotch and driving through him. This isn't good enough just right here. I mean, that's okay, but let's put him in a bad position immediately. Always get in the habit after a takedown, we're looking for a good breakdown or a turn right away. So we're stepping back, get some space, move him, coming around behind. Now here, in the crotch or at an ankle, and driving through, hips in, right here. Breaking that guy down all the way. Okay, next thing we're going to work on is beating collar ties, and it's another place you're going to be a lot. A lot of guys like to work out of a collar tie, and you got to be confident and be able to beat the collar tie when you get in this situation. So probably 3 main drills that we'll work on in this situation. One is just making sure that if this guy gets on my head, I still keep solid position. Okay, that means keeping my hips underneath me, not getting bent over, keeping my head up, keeping a strong neck, coming into the guy, and it's going to give me a good opportunity to control his elbows too. Okay, so he gets to my head right here. I have to make sure, okay, knees are bent. I can't start getting top heavy right here. He's got a lot of control right now just because of my position. I have to make sure more than ever I get a strong neck. I'm shrugging these shoulders. I'm getting to this elbow. And I'm getting my hips underneath here, hips and into him right here. Okay, now all of a sudden this becomes my tie. Okay, I'm really controlling here at the elbow. This becomes my tie up now. Okay, solid position where we can work from. That's one thing. And that's just, I mean, if we're doing this in practice, that means I'm going to come here and Chad, I'm just going to pull on him. He's just going to come into me here. If you notice that, all of a sudden my collar tie became his tie and he was in better position. So I'm here. As his drilling partner, I'm going to pull on him here. He stays in good position, comes into me right there. Another thing we'll work on a lot is making sure that we don't go backwards when he collar ties me. If he gets on my head and if I try to escape that collar tie by moving backwards, it's going to be real easy for him to follow me. Here's what I mean. He gets on my head and I start backing out this way. It's real easy for him. I'm on my heels. I'm not in good position. It's real easy for him to stay on my head right there. What I need to do is make sure I move into him. Okay, so just like the last one where we got to an elbow, got our hips in and came forward, this time I'm just coming to that wrist, getting high on the wrist and moving into him right here. So he's on my head. I'm just coming here and I'm gonna have to lower my head for a minute to let this slide off, but then I'm coming back, moving into this guy. Now I'm in pretty good position right here where I can start looking for some other options for setups right there. But you're going to have to really close the gap and make sure, here, get that hand off your head and move forward. Okay? Now again, when I do that, I'm not going backwards. Even if I get here, if I try to go backwards and I do this, he's going to keep closing the gap right there. I have to make sure I move forward on him. Here. Working back up into your tie-up right there. Then the last thing that we spend a lot of time working on here is passing elbows. And I like it for a lot of reasons. Again, you turn his tie into your tie, turn it into your setup. I think at the end of a period, the end of a match, when the guys are getting tired, they have a tendency to hang a little bit. Having a good elbow pass is a good chance to get a guy out of position. And first I'm going to kind of break down how we hit our elbow pass, and then kind of put these guys to a little bit of a drill so you see how we practice this. So number one, when he gets to a collar tie, elbow pass, same thing. I'm getting to his elbow. Okay, I'm making sure I'm still in good position. And I don't want to be ear to ear. I see this a lot, especially with a lot of high school kids. One guy collar ties, the other guy collar ties, and we tie up with each other here, and we're all stuck in here, ear to ear. My head's on his shoulder, his head's on my shoulder. And the problem is, neither one of us are probably going to score right there. I lower my level. He feels me. We both go down. There's no space to work right there. So I need to make sure that I'm still trying to control the tie right here, which means I'm here. We're either forehead to forehead, or I get my forehead into his temple or into his ear right here. I feel like I have more control, even though he's on my head. Now with my elbow pass, really what I want to have happen is I want this hand that he's heavy on my head with, I want it to slide off my head. So 2 things. I'm going to take a little bit of a scissor step here. Okay, I'm taking a back step and an inside step with my front foot. Here, I'm going to lower my level, but I'm actually going to put my head down again for a second and let him slide off here. And I think that's a key. And I think for a lot of people, they're not comfortable doing that because when in wrestling do you ever hear, put your head down? I mean, it's a wrestling rule. You don't put your head down. Well, to me, at least in my opinion, this is one time. It's a good time. You put your head down, you let the guy slide off right there. And when you first drill this, man, you really need to do it slow. Spend time. Guys have so much tendency when they do this, they want to pull this elbow up. They want to turn it into a duck under. They want to try to turn their head away right here. You're not turning your head away right now. Okay, this is scissor step, back step, front step. Here, inside foot's coming forward, lowering my level at the knees, but also ducking this head and letting his hand slide right off. Now, if you look, I've got a whole lot of options. High crotch, double. I'm going to explode through this guy. Okay, and my feet are in position to score. I know sometimes people will teach this to, sidestep here, which I think is okay to get them off my head. But the thing I don't like about that is then I don't feel like I'm in position to score. I don't think my feet are in great position to attack right there. So I'm going to make sure as I hit this, I scissor step, lower my level, now penetrate through him. If it's my high crotch, here I'm penetrating through him all the way and up. Okay? If I'm shooting a double, I'm going through that far leg. Here. All the way through this leg, penetrating through. All the way through the guy right there. And I think that's something that's important as you drill this. A lot of times guys will have a tendency, they hit the pass by and they just kind of reach. They'll just do this. I practice my pass by and I reach. But then you get in a match situation and they think they're going to get to a shot just by doing this. And it's not going to happen. You got to penetrate all the way through the guy right there. Okay, so one more time, just kind of breaking this down. I'm at the elbow, making sure I've got some space here, either forehead, my head's to his temple or his ear, or forehead to forehead. And the other thing is, I kind of want him pushing in, so I might give him a little pressure. And he pushes back, that's perfect. Right there, we just need a little pressure. Hit that scissor step, inside foot's coming forward, lowering our level, dropping our head, letting it slide off. There you go. Now you attack from here. Boom. All the way up and through. Okay, now, as we practice getting good at this elbow pass, you want guys to be able to do it on both sides, and you want it to be something that they feel automatic. Guy's heavy on my head, he's pushing, he's giving me pressure, boom, elbow pass. Other side, elbow pass. So as we kind of drill this, here's what it'll look like. One guy goes back and forth. Right there. Guy comes back, other side, elbow pass. Other side. Good, good. There you go, just like that. So there's a good drill right there. Get in the habit. It's automatic. He feels it. He stays in good position. He's working on not just bending over at the back, knees, head, good position. Other side, good position right there. Turning that guy's collar tie into our tie. Now we're going to talk about another real common position that you're going to get in on your feet, just beating an underhook. A lot of guys want to come out and dig underhooks hard. And I think there's a couple ways to approach this. Number one is making sure you don't get there in the first place. Okay, and that means if we're wrestling and I'm on Jimmy's head, I can't have my elbow out right there. I'm real susceptible to an underhook. The underhook really, you simplify it, it's all about my elbow right there. That's what he's hooking. He's hooking my elbow right here. Okay, if I can make sure to keep that away, then there's nothing for him to hook right there. So to stay out of an underhook in the first place, we want to work on being on the guy's head. Okay, when we collar tie, it shouldn't even be called a collar tie. It should be called a head tie because I'm not up here on his collar. If I'm on his collar, his head's up. It's really easy for him to stay in position. Okay, I'm here on the head. My elbow's facing down, heavy right here. I've got some control right here, and I'm trying to be wrist deep. Okay, and this is kind of getting beyond what we're going to work on right here, but it's a good fundamental to be aware of. Here on the head, wrist deep. Okay, elbow pointing down. Now, if we're in here and Jimmy starts to try to underhook that side, I just make sure I take my elbow away. Just turning it in right there. He chose to underhook there. We're just going to hide that thing. Okay? Now, sometimes we might be in here and I feel it coming. I just have to turn it as we go. Okay? There's the hook. I feel it coming. Just turn my elbow in. And if he digs hard and I turn that in, there's a good opportunity for me to lower my level and start looking for a shot right there. Okay, but I'm on his head. I feel it coming. Just got to go ahead and turn that elbow in right there. Okay, that's number one. So we'll just tell the guys first, okay, get with your guy. One guy's trying to get to underhooks, don't let him get in there. Okay, if I'm drilling with Jimmy and I'm trying to get to underhooks, he's not going to let it in. Right here, I'm trying to dig in, he's not letting it in. He does a good job once he's posting there on my elbow sometimes. He knows I'm digging in. Here, he blocks. Get in there. Just like that. Okay? That's the first part. Now, second part is, yeah, sometimes he might beat me to the underhook. I've got to know how to beat from there. And one will just start basic. You know, if he gets to an underhook here, right here, I got to make sure if I feel like I have the space immediately, first thing is I'm going to bring that elbow back in. I'm going to have to go palm up right here. Okay, so I'm here. I want to create some space. I got to go palm up, and it's about this elbow again. It's all about getting this elbow in and down right here. Okay, so if we're on this side, he gets to a little bit of an underhook here. Immediately, I got to get off the head. I got to go palm up, okay, so I can turn my elbow in and back down again. Okay, and obviously as we drill this, I got to really focus on staying in position. I mean, right now we're kind of doing this. I'm standing up straight, developing a bad habit. We got to make sure I'm in here. He gets to the underhook. Immediately, I'm here, back in good position. Underhooks me right away. Create that space. Go palm up. Okay, now, that was a pretty quick initial. If he just gets to it and I get out and I circle away here, if I feel like he's really got me beat here, I'm going to have to, number one, focus on get my elbow down. I don't want this thing facing the ceiling. He's got a good tight underhook. I got to get my elbow down. I'm going to use my hand, use my knuckles, get in his ribs a little bit to create some space. Okay, here we're tight to each other. It's going to be hard for me to circle out right here. I got to go elbow down, fight for some head position, make a fist here and use those knuckles in the ribs. And all I'm really doing is I'm kind of straightening out right here. Straight out, now I can go back to circling out here in position. Okay? Again, I can't do that from here. Right now, if I try to raise my arm up and go palm up, he's going to attack that position. I mean, I don't care if I'm running away or not. He's faster than me because I'm going backwards. I'm here. He's going to run through me right there. I have to create some space in here. I got to use my other hand to fight inside. I got to get in here. Now, straighten that arm out a little bit. Create some space. Now we can come here. Elbow in, palm up, back down. Okay? And again, it might be a good chance to start looking for some offense. Okay? But number one, we got to be able to beat that position. Roll your level. Fight for head position if you can. Use this fist. Straighten it out here. Okay, now I have some space to work. Get that palm down. Back into my ties right there. Okay, now another option right here. Guy gets to an underhook. Okay, and I don't feel like I can circle out. I'm going to go the opposite. This time I'm going to circle towards him. I'm going to lower my level by squatting. Okay, the idea is here is I want to reach, I want to get to his inside thigh on the underhook side. I want to get to that inside thigh, but I'm not going to be able to do that with just my arm. Okay, I need my full body weight to get there. So that means I'm going to drop my hips here and then reach right here. Now, I'm going to circle towards that leg and come inside with my other hand, my outside hand here, all the way through the guy into a shot right there. It's just a little snatch single, but I'm beating the underhook first by lowering my level. Here, I can't reach. There's no way. If I lower my level there, all of a sudden it puts a lot of pressure just on his elbow right here. Okay, because I'm dropping my hips. Right here, it's just the weight of my arm. I drop my hips, he's carrying the weight of my whole body. Coming inside the thigh, I run into that leg. Up and through him here. Okay, one more time. Here, lower my level, reach, right there. Now circle to it, run to it. All the way up and through the guy right there. Okay, now let's get two guys here. We'll kind of show you a couple things. Number one, I'll tell these guys, okay, first of all, one guy's trying to underhook, just don't let him in. Don't let him in the underhook. There you go. Trying to dig underhooks, there you go. Time. Hey, you notice there, guy all of a sudden hits an elbow pass too. I mean, just putting some things together because you hit these drills enough, it becomes natural. Okay, now one guy's going to start with the underhook. I want you to beat that underhook after you've started with it. Go. There you go. He circles out, moves him. Again. Circles out, moves him. Good. One more time. Good. There you go. So there's a good example of a drill right there. First, don't let that underhook in. Number two, he beats you to the underhook. Got to be able to beat that underhook and get out of there. Next thing here, we're going to work on beating a 2-on-1 or a Russian tie. Again, it's a common situation, something that you're probably going to get to a lot. And again, like everything else, I like to spend a little time on these, is not when I've already been in there, but how to avoid it. And that means, if we're wrestling, I can't put my hands up here and rest my hands on his head. He's going to go ahead and attack. I can't rest my hands on his shoulder. All right? We talk a lot about hand fighting. It's a hand fight. You put your hands on a guy with meaning. We're not kittens. We're not resting up here. We're not playing around. You put your hands on the guy, be physical with him, with a purpose. Okay? So, that's number one. We get in here, and if I feel that coming, that he starts reaching, I got to keep that hand back. If he goes for a 2-on-1 or whatever, go ahead. I got to bring that elbow in. I got to be ready to lower my level at the same time, keeping my head, my hands, defense first. Okay? But put your hands on this guy with meaning. I don't just rest my hands up there. Okay? So, for some reason, he does get to a 2-on-1. Okay? So he gets here. He gets to a Russian tie. We've got some options. Okay? In my opinion, this is not an option. Posting my hand on his head and running my hips away is not an option. Okay? He can post. He's got a whole bunch of options. He can pull me down. Okay? And I think one thing that's real important on a 2-on-1 or a Russian tie that most people at first are a little uncomfortable with is we want to keep our hips close. A lot of times guys start thinking, oh, he's got the tie up. I better keep my hips away. Easy for him to pull me down right here because I'm basically just bent over. I got to keep my hips in. And look at my elbow. I'm not letting him straighten it out here. He gets straight armed. Again, he's got a lot of control. I got to keep this elbow in tight to my body. Okay, he still has more control than I do, but my hips are close, my elbow's tight to my body. Now we got to start attacking hands. Okay, so a couple options. Number one is we're going to go to the inside hand, the hand that's higher up on my bicep right here, and get the fingers. Go ahead and get the fingers here, all of them. You're just going to go ahead and peel it off and bring hand inside. Here, opportunity to go ahead right into a single right there. Okay, but the thing I like about this is it's most guys think you're going to come here, you get this tight, you get all four fingers right here, you bring it inside. Now maybe either I go to a 2-on-1, I go to elbow pass, or I get to my shot. But either way, I'm beating the Russian tie right there. Okay, elbows close, hips are tight, get the fingers inside here. Okay, there's one option. Another option is going for the top hand, the hand on my wrist. Okay, same thing, I'm going to peel the fingers off. I just have to make sure of two things. One, I like coming here and coming to an underhook. Okay, that's one good option. The other thing is I have to make sure when I peel this off, I don't go loose armed right here, because that's an opportunity for him to duck right here. Okay, so just because I have control of his hand doesn't mean he can't use this as a setup. I have to make sure I'm still elbows in, still fighting here in good position. Use this to my advantage. Okay, but I don't want to get loose armed here. I peel it off and all of a sudden I'm in worse position than I was before. Okay, so there's two good options to start. All right. Okay, so now, number one, I'll say one guy is trying to get to a Russian tie. We're not going to let him yet. Okay, one guy's he's trying to get to a Russian. Yeah, don't let him get to that. Okay, good. Now we'll say, okay, start in there. One guy's going to start with the Russian tie. Beat that Russian. Get where you want to be. Peeling it off. Good. Circling. Again. Good. And one thing you notice with these guys, this is why I picked these guys to show these drills. They don't just hit the drill. They follow up with something else. You notice that every time Chad he beats the 2-on-1, and then he moves that guy right away. He's going on to the next thing. Okay, it's serious wrestling right there. Just like that. Getting him out of position. One more time. Good. Okay, next thing here, we're going to work on beating a crackdown position. Okay, and crackdown, I'm talking about if Jimmy and I are wrestling, he beats me to a high crotch and he puts me on my butt into a crackdown position. Okay, real key for me here is I don't want to stay on my butt longer than I have to. I got to pop my hips up, get back into good position. Okay, so we'll start in here into a high crotch. Now, he's going to crack me down, put me on my butt here. Now, number one, I have to make sure I'm not standing here locked up around the waist. Okay? I'm posting as we hit. My other hand is in a tight waist position. The idea is, with this hand, I'm tight waisting so I can try to get pressure back towards his head right here. Yeah, it would kind of look like this. If I was just going to take him to his hip, I'd use this to run him to his hip right here. which might happen sometimes. Okay, at the same time I'm posting so I can get my hips up. And I'm gonna run my feet out. So we're in a tight waist position, getting tight this way, posting our hand, running our hips up. Back in here into good solid short offense position. Okay? Here, puts me on my butt, here, post, get back to our tight waist, hips up. Now the more we do this, it's gotta be automatic. Okay, so he hits, boom, right away. Running those feet, hips up right there. Sometimes this is a real battle position. Okay? And this is part of the reason we talked about earlier. If he gets into a high crotch, well, I don't want to be bent over right here. Easy for him to crack me down right there, as compared to here on my feet where I'm taking my leg away. Same drill we worked on earlier, taking my leg away, beating to the angle. Hard for him to crack me down here. Okay, but if he beats me to it, I get put on my butt. I can't stay here long. Hips up, run your feet. Here, now we're back to our drill earlier, pulling him forward into our go behind. One more time. My butt here, post, get my hip off the mat. Right now you can see my hips on the mat, okay? As soon as I get my hip up, I'm getting pressure into him. Using my back foot to drive into him. Here, into the guy, running, squaring up hard right here. Okay? Now, like I said, I don't want to be wrapped around him. Okay, but at some point, if I get put on my butt, every now and then, I think it's okay if I'm like in a chest lock position right here. I'm not coming here on his belly. I'm in a chest lock position, and my forearm is on top of his tricep. I don't want to be so deep that he can wrap right here. Yep. I want to be shallow on top of that tricep. In that same motion we had before, where I had my tight waist and I posted my hand, do the same thing. We'll take the pressure that way and run my feet up. Okay, and the only reason I probably would do this instead of the other one is he's cracking me down hard. I mean, I can really feel the pressure here. I don't think I can do it with one hand. I got to get here, run it up. Right there. Hopefully you hit, you post your hand, you get your hip up right away, but if not, it comes a real battle in there. He cracks me down hard, and I can't go this way. I might lock up. Here, my forearm on top of his tricep. Again, using this back foot to drive, running the pressure into him right here. Okay, back into go behind position right there. Got to beat that crack down. Another drill that we work on a lot is, you know, it's one of those situational type of drills, is winning the battle at the edge of the mat. And, you know, especially with the new rules, some of the stuff, it's kind of gray, you know, what's stalling, what isn't. But no matter what, I think edge of the mat is a huge place to go ahead and win a battle right there. And that means if you feel like you're getting towards the edge, your back is towards the edge, you got to make sure you fight to get back towards center, getting your back towards the center. And vice versa, if you're the guy, you circled him towards the edge, look for a guy to let up right there. Look for a guy to start thinking that we're almost out of bounds, and it's almost a free place to attack right there. Okay? So two things that we'll work on here is if these guys are drilling, we'll find a circle here in the room somewhere. Okay? And if we'll decide, let's say Loman's working on this drill and Jimmy's his partner. Okay, so I tell Chad, we're working on beating the edge of the mat. Right now his back is to the edge of the mat. He's got to work on number one, finding a way to circle back inside. Okay, so Jimmy's trying to push him out. He's got to move him and circle, just like that. Okay, and there's some things. You got to use the pressure. We got to push. We got to pull. He's got to lower his level. A lot of that's about leverage right here. Okay, if he's lower, he's good right there. If, just for example, if we're wrestling and I'm trying to push him out, if I'm lower than he is, I've got more leverage. It's pretty easy for me to drive him out. Okay, you got to use your leverage here. He's going to have to get low. He's going to have to beat me to it now. Then push, pull, get me to the edge. Okay, so that's the first part of the drill. The next thing is then we need to attack right there. That's a great place to score. Okay, so same thing. This time he's going to circle. He's going to look for his offense. Boom, right there, just like that. You know, if he can score on the edge, great. If he shoots him off, great. You're still beating that guy mentally right there. Circle, looking for a shot, trying to score on the edge of the mat. Okay, same thing. This is a great place where we worked on beating the underhook. A lot of times, guy will underhook right here, try to push you out. It's a good place to work on beating that underhook. Circling, there you go, scoring on the edge of the mat. That's a real important thing. And Some things in our room we talk about, if you're wrestling and two guys are going and he got me up against the wall and maybe I'm up against the wall, then hey, take advantage of that situation. Push him up against the wall, pick his feet up underneath him and take him down. He shouldn't have let himself get circled up to the wall. A lot of times you're wrestling, you got groups on the ground, somebody's behind you. Hey, and here, if somebody pushes you over the group behind you, you should pay attention to where you're at. Don't let that guy push you over the group. It's embarrassing, and you should have circled away from it. So those are things that in a wrestling room you can take advantage of what you have. The walls, the groups, the other people, everything is the edge of the mat. Make sure that you take advantage of those situations. Next drill we're going to work on here is now we're getting into some more lifelike wrestling situations. Just a shot-reshot drill. So we'll have two guys going, and basically what it's going to be is one guy's going to take a shot. He doesn't get the first one. He immediately attacks into a second shot. Now, when they do this, one thing you'll notice is we're not diving in on a second shot. Okay, you're coming up in position, repenetrating into a good second shot here. Here's what it looks like. One shot, boom, right into another one. Just like that. Come up all the way in through the guy. Good. Okay, the idea is, and the best guy, probably not going to get the first one all the time. Got to be looking to repenetrate. Okay, let's go one more time here. Takes a shot, second shot, up and through the guy. Just like that. Good. Okay, now along the same lines, another one that we like to do is one guy's going to take a shot. We're going to stop it this time, redirect him, and then we take a reshot. So this time, Chad's going to take a shot. Jimmy's going to stop that shot, but he's going to redirect him. Now, sometimes that's the part people miss. Sometimes they'll take a shot, we don't redirect them, then we try to just dive back in. Okay, got to redirect this guy. Here's what I mean. He's going to keep his hands on him, just like that. It was subtle. It was subtle right there. He took a shot, but he redirected him. He passed that elbow by before he re-attacked. One more time. Just like that. There. Chad took a shot. Jimmy lowers his level. He keeps his head and hands out in front. He redirects him to a place where he has an angle now. He penetrates and gets his shot. Let's go one more time. Nice. Just like that. Good. That's a good, easy drill. You can do a lot in the room, and I think it really promotes serious wrestling. Stopping a move and then getting back to your offense. A couple other drills here. One that we really like to do, it's another one that I kind of like to do at the end of practice when maybe guys are tired. And I think it's not only just a physical drill, but it's a good mental drill too. We call it a domination drill. And basically, I'll give the guys, maybe anywhere from 15 to 30 to maybe even a whole minute and say, okay, one guy's going and you're going to take him down. You're going to cut him. You're going to cut him hard, keep your hands on him, and get another takedown. And this is just, the thought process is it's the end of the match. I wore the guy out. He's broke. I'm looking for some bonus points right here. And I'm going to make sure I do a good job. He's going to take the guy down. When he cuts him, he stays in good position. Sometimes you see guys get a little sloppy. You might take a guy down. The other guy turns around and dives in on something, catches your heels. Okay, we're going to take him down. Going to cut him hard. Going to be tough on him right here. Get it, hands on him, hands on his head, hands on his shoulders, redirecting him, and getting back into another good offensive shot and finish. Okay, so we'll watch these guys here. We'll go for about 20 seconds. One guy gone. Domination drill. Time. It's good. And I think some things to focus on right here, you got to make sure those guys did a good job right there on both ends. As the partner, you can't just roll over for him. You're going to make him work a little bit. And at the same time, if you're the one giving up a takedown, he took him down to his back a couple times. He rolled through, got back into good position. He's coming back up, trying to get his escape. Vice versa, then the offensive guy, he's got to make sure just because you're dominating, you're the one doing all the offense, all the work right now, you can't get sloppy. Just because you're going to get the takedown doesn't mean you start diving in, head down. It's still got to be good fundamentals. That's where you really got to focus right there. And those guys did a good job of that right there. Keeping your hands on the guy, wear him out, keep a lot of offense going, and score some points there when the guy's real tired. One thing we talk about a lot is, putting two plus setups is what we call it, or basically before you get to your offense, hitting 2, 3, 4 setups. And it's not just, sometimes you think of a setup as like one specific thing that you do. But setup really can mean just getting a little motion going, moving the guy's head, maybe a fake, passing an elbow. But what it does, it kind of promotes some flow wrestling, okay? And so, if these guys have been drilling, and one thing when you work on drilling, when they first start, one guy might come in, hit a couple shots, hit one setup, finish his shot. But as you go, you kind of want to get into more of a flow of a drill. Okay, so a 2+ setup means one guy's going to go, he's going to hit 2, 3, 4 setups. He's going to let the other guy react. Okay, it's not going to be real fast all the time. He's going to give the other guy time to react before he goes ahead and hits his penetration shot and finishes. So here's an idea of what some 2+ setups would look like. Do one more. Nice. That's a real good example right there. Okay, and the thing about it is, it wasn't all like one major setup and then one major setup. It was little things. He moved his feet, he got a fake in, there's a setup. He moved his head, there's a setup. He passed an elbow, there's a setup. I mean, there's 2, 3 things you put together right there. That really promotes a good flow of wrestling right there. Next one we're going to do, getting back into kind of a flow of wrestling to try to make the drilling as lifelike as possible. At Grandview, a lot of times, we like to do a lot of hand fighting, especially at the end of practice when we've been going live or we've done some conditioning. And hand fighting really means you're battling for position, okay? Now, maybe earlier in the practice or any time during practice you want to incorporate this, one thing you can do is have the guys do like a 50% hand fight where both guys, they're hand fighting a little bit, but it's not 100%. They're giving each other a good feel, and then one guy's going to go. So they always know which guy it's going to be. In this case, Jimmy's the guy that's going to take the shot. These guys are going to be hand fighting a little bit, battling for position. Then when he feels like he's in a good position to go ahead and get some offense going, he'll go. Going about 50% on the hand fight, and then he's going to go 100% on the shot. Good, good. Go one more time there. Nice. Okay, so what you saw there was, it wasn't one guy standing here being the takedown dummy. It was 2 guys giving each other a good feel. A little bit of a hand fight, just giving some guys some different pressure, maybe some different ties, some different looks, and finding a way to get through that and get to your offense. Real effective, I think, for making your drilling lifelike. One thing we spent a lot of time on early in the year is, as the bottom guy, trying to be aware of how the top guy is covering and what probably is his most likely first move. Okay, and so, there's a lot of different options, but a few that we'll focus on today is an outside ankle, guy going to an outside ankle on top, a guy going to a jam or a chop on top, or a guy going to a spiral ride. Okay, and so before we even get to it, a lot of times we'll say, okay, top guy, want you to line up like you're going to go to his outside ankle on the whistle. Okay, and what you'll see is, you notice Loman's head's over here a little bit. He might cheat over with his hand a little bit right there. Okay, that's probably what it looks like if he's going to go outside ankle. And as the bottom guy, okay, feel that. Feel what it feels like when the guy's going to go outside ankle. Now, line up like you're going to go to a jam or a chop. Okay? Notice he changes things a little bit. He might cheat up a little bit on the elbow. His head changed positions. His probably got a little bit tighter on the tight waist right there. As the bottom guy, he can feel, okay, he's most likely going to chop on the whistle. Now I want you to line up like you're going to go to a spiral ride on the whistle. Okay? So now, you notice he's up high. He might be cheating underneath the elbow sometimes. The weight's going to shift a little bit where the bottom guy can feel, okay, he's probably going to go to a spiral ride on the whistle. So one thing we'll do is, okay, before we do anything else, again, line up like you're going to go to outside ankle. Okay, bottom guy should feel that. Now line up like you're going to go to a jam. Now line up like you're going to go spiral ride. Okay, so you feel these things. Now, what we'll do is, without the bottom guy looking, I'll say, all right, bottom guy, close your eyes. Top guy, look up here, and I'll tell you, 1 is jam, 2 is spiral, 3 is outside ankle. Okay, so tell him, all right, here's what we're going to do. All right, bottom guy, what's he going to? No? Outside ankle. He's going outside ankle. There you go. So, okay, so we want the guy to feel the idea. And you know what? At first, he's probably not going to get it every time. But you give him, we'll go through it 2, 3, 4 times, each guy, and then the next guy goes. Okay, and that's going to kind of lead into what we look at next, as far as how we beat those positions. So one more time, we'll have him get on. I'll tell the top guy, I'll just go to like you're going to line up like a jam. Okay, feel that position. spiral ride, feel that, and outside ankle, feel that. There you go. So there's a good drill just to kind of get an idea. And you might look at some other things. It might be inside ankle, it could be a claw ride, whatever you think the guy's going to go to on the whistle. But we want that guy to be real aware of those situations. Next thing we're going to work on here is just a drill where we'll have one guy start on his belly, okay, and the top guy will come on, and the top guy is going to go about 50-60%. And all the bottom guy is really trying to do right now is build a base. Just get from his belly to his base right here. Okay, so we'll just go ahead here, and Jimmy's going to try to build that base right there. Okay, and again, go back to his belly. Top guy, maybe give him a little more resistance this time, just trying to keep him on his belly. Just like that. Okay, and the idea of this drill is, I think a lot of times, especially young guys, they struggle with the idea of, okay, I got broken down, I'm on my belly, I have to get out. Which is true, you need to get out. But you're not getting out from your belly. Okay, you got to break it down. Number one, you got to get back into position where you can get out from. That means first, build a base. And I think when you go through this drill and you find out that just getting from your belly to your knees really isn't that hard. I mean, the top guy could probably go 70-80% and find out that it's pretty hard to keep a guy broke all the way down on his belly. Okay, so we'll go one more time. Okay, he's on his belly. He's trying to keep him down. Builds a base. There you go. Okay, he gives him pretty good resistance right there. But you see, he does a good job. He tries not to give up inside wrists on the way, not letting a leg slide in, but getting those knees back underneath him. Okay, so that's a real good drill, and I think sometimes it's kind of an eye-opener for young guys that, hey, getting from my belly to my base really isn't that hard. Now, the next part, he starts on his base. All the top guy's going to try to do is break him down, knock him off his base. All his job is right now is to keep on his base, not get broken down. Yeah, he can, if he has to go to an elbow, fine. Just don't give up an inside wrist. We're going to stay solid position right here. Go. Time. There you go. So, yeah, is it going to take some work? You might have to knee slide a little bit, keep your hips underneath you. Make sure that if you get chopped, you're not going elbow out where you could give up an inside wrist, but you're doing a good job of keeping that base, because that's the next part of getting out. It's not just going from base to feet, it's make sure you stay solid first. Don't get knocked back down to your belly, okay? Now, the very last part of the process is going from base to feet, and there's really two things I want him to focus on. Obviously, number one is finding a time to get to your feet, but two is seal off on the way up, okay? And here's what I mean by that a little bit. I'll show you with a guy on top of me here, just like this. Okay, so many guys get so caught up in the idea of getting hand control, and they'll get hand control at all costs, which means I'll get hand control here, but then he'll come across and get my wrist. I mean, that's no good. This is just as much hand control as this is right here. Hand control means I have some control of where his hands are. Okay, so I seal off means right here, I seal off. I block. I don't let this hand through. Now this side, yeah, I can grab the fingers. I can control this if I need to, but just pinching with my elbow is still hand control. Okay? So if he gives me some pressure and I start coming up, this is still hand control right here. Yeah, now I might want to start looking to go ahead and get this and put this in my back pocket, but I have to seal off. That means no gaps right here. Elbows in, blocking off on the way up, getting rid of the gaps. Okay, if we're down on the mat right here, there's a lot of gaps right here, As I come up, I got to start closing these gaps off right here, blocking, pushing back into this guy, sealing off on the way up. Okay, so we just did two drills. You went from base to knees, from stomach to base, then base. We're going to go base to feet right here. Okay, so here's with the guy on top. This time, he's already on his base. He's already worked on keeping his base. Now, he's going to work on coming up, sealing off on the way up. Blocking, just like that. Yeah, and you can break down some technique and work on your stand-up and all that. But right now, the whole idea is go from your base, get to your feet. Base to feet. Seal off on the way up. Don't give any wrists up. Good. Time. So the last thing we just talked about, going from your knees, from your base to your feet. We talked about sealing off. A real important thing you can do here too is just work on, we call it like a hands game, where one guy might start like hand on my belly, okay, the other hand's outside, and all we're trying to do is I'm trying to beat his hand control. I'm trying to get to my hand control. That means I want to work on trying to get this hand out, elbows in, maybe here. You know, if I get to right here, I pretty much win. Okay, now if we do this and I get here and he gets to my wrist, then he would win. Okay, so but this gives us an opportunity to feel, okay, what's going to happen? If he gets to my wrist, I just free it. And we block, we work on going inside out with our elbows right here. Inside out. I get a hand inside with the elbow out. Punching him out. Making sure we're sealing off. We're blocking right here. Okay? And realizing too, what maybe is hand control and what isn't. Which means, you know, if he gets underneath here and he has this, he's got hand control right now. Okay, but if he reaches across and just has this, you know, like right here, this might not always be as bad as you think. You know, you get a little space and scrape right there. Sometimes the guy will just come out and grab your wrist right here. That's not hand control. I mean, for some reason, some people will get tied up on this and think, oh man, I got to go battle this wrist, and I get here, and then they give up this hand. The guy's just baiting you. Okay, realize this is okay. I'm still sealing off. He's outside. That's good. Okay, so we can do this from a few positions. One, just like we are right now on our knees. I could be here, like I'm building up. And you can do this as we go. I can get to my feet. He's giving me some pressure. I come up to my feet, blocking off. There we are. Cutting away all the way right there. That's one place. You can do it from a short sit position. Same thing. You can have them start underneath both if you want, or just one. But you're going to block here. Same thing as before. Pushing, getting in, elbows inside. Here we are. Now I have good hand control. I'm in a place where I can score. Another place we can do that from is up on our feet. You know, same thing. He starts here. I'm here. I got to be able to block, get my hips away, make sure I keep hand control. And you can do it. I mean, you can have the top guy go 50%. You can have the top guy go 100% if you want. I mean, he's not trying to return me, but he's trying to get hand control 100%. He's really fighting in here. I got to block, and gets those hips away right there. That's a real good drill, kind of a little game you can play from a lot of different positions, working on sealing off and getting hand control right there. All right, next drill here. This is kind of I'd say a combination drill. We're going to start on our feet, but it's going to be really more for the guy who is getting taken down. And obviously you don't want your guys giving up takedowns, but if they do need to get taken down in position, be able to get their hips back underneath them and come up and cut away right away. So in this drill, we're going to have one guy go. He'll get a takedown. The other guy's going to make sure he gets taken down in position, gets back up, and cuts away. So here's what it would look like. One more time. Good. So I think some things that you might notice right there that happens is when Jimmy gets taken down, number one, he tries to fall to his knees if possible. If not, he builds that base right away and makes sure he keeps the weight off his hands. Okay, and here's what I mean. He got taken down. Go ahead, like on all fours. He's right here. Okay, right here, the weight's up on his hands. He's got a knee slide before he starts coming up. Just like that. He gets that weight underneath. Knee slides, he gets head and chest up, and then he can build his base. Okay, one more time. Knee sliding all the way up, building that base. It's good. And here's the problem with that. If you don't do that, if Jimmy gets taken down, he's up on his hands, and he starts trying to come up here, he's way too much weight forward right there. I mean, I don't have to do much work. If he starts coming up right here, I can break this guy down just a little bit of pressure. Okay, you want to come up hips underneath you. So he's knee sliding, coming up in good position right there. Let's do it one more time so you can pay attention to that. Good. One more time over here. One more time over here. Good. Just like that. It's falling in position, knees underneath him, hitting a knee slide, coming up and out of there. Okay, next thing we're going to work on here now for top is what we call rear standing position. And rear standing just means returning the guy back to the mat once he gets to his feet. And we talk a lot about it here at Grandview because probably one of my major pet peeves is if we're wrestling, we're the top guy, and the guy gets to his feet, and we push him away and act like we're cutting him. And in my opinion, if you're going to cut a guy, then you put him down first, and then he can go ahead and cut him just so he knows that you're cutting him. But you don't just let him go because he got to his feet. Okay, so probably it's the hardest, but the best way to return a guy is you pick him up and you put him back down to the mat. There's a whole bunch of different ideas for rear standing. I mean, you can drop to a leg, you can pull his hip. I mean, there's so many different ways to do it. The best way is the hardest way. That means you lock your hands, you pop your hips, and you put him back down to the mat. Okay, so number one, we just work on that a lot right there. So rear standing, one guy's going, You lock up, those hips in, put them back down, just like that, okay? That's good, that's good. Okay, now, the next part is, as we do this drill, we're gonna combine it again where it's really two guys combining, doing two things, okay? It's gonna be the top guy and the bottom guy. So this time, Jimmy's gonna lift again, but Chad's gonna do a good job of bringing his knees up to his chest as he gets lifted. He's gonna get lifted and he's gonna get taken back down to the mat in position. We just talked about that in the last drill. As you're getting taken down, you get taken down in position. Here, he's gonna get lifted in rear standing, gonna bring his knees up. He's gonna come down in position. He's gonna come right back up again. Now when we do this drill, we'll have Jimmy lift him, return him 3 times. Then on the last time, Loman will get hand control and cut away, just like this. He cuts away, just like that. It's a great drill for both guys right there. It's a tough drill. It's tough on both guys. Most guys don't like doing that drill very much. I mean, nobody likes getting lifted and returned to the mat, but it's going to happen. You need to be able to stay in good position. Real good for the back guy, so he understands the importance of lifting the guy. And then for the front guy, staying in good position, keep those knees underneath you, and then being able to come up with that last time, keep hand control, and cut away. Okay, this drill here, we work a lot at Grandview in the, we call it high thigh position for the top guy, okay? And not getting too much into the technique of it. Basically, we're figure fouring the top guy at high in the thigh. And really what happens here is this is a battle of hips between two guys, okay? For the top guy, what he wants to do is open this guy's hip up. So he's gonna go ahead and pop his hips, turn Jimmy's hip there. As you see, we call that opening his hip. He just turned his hip. It's open now. He's got a good chance to score some back points. As the bottom guy, he wants to go ahead and put Chad on his hip right there. Okay, so it's a battle of hips right there. This is a great play. It's a good drill for both guys because you got to be able to feel that battle. One guy pops his hips right here. Now Jimmy fights back down all the way to there. Loman fights his hips back up on top. There you go. Chad opens up his hip again. One more time. Jimmy fights his hip down. Here, now Chad fights back up, opens that hip up again, just like that. These guys, they're going about 50, 60%, maybe a little harder than that right now, but it's a real good idea of what the battle is between the hips and what you should feel pressure-wise right there. So for the bottom guy, we always want to make sure that whether it's a leg or high thigh, he's putting that guy in his hip, getting pressure back into him. As the top guy, we want a lot of hip pressure. We want him opening up that guy's hip. You're going to get a good feel right there and feel what the battle is like, and you can get a little bit tougher with it as you go. Okay, this next drill here for the top guy also, working on beating this guy's first move. And obviously this is important for 1,000 different reasons, but I mean, 2 that really stand out is 1, if the guy's explosive, he wants to try to explode up on the whistle. We want to find a way to keep the pressure forward, bump him forward, keep the weight on his hands, stop his first move, and at the same time, you see it so many times where there's short time left in a period. You know, it doesn't matter if it's the first period or the third period, and you want to keep that guy down. You want to make sure you're the last one to score in the period, and a guy, he lets a guy go. You know, he explodes up and gets away with short time left in the period. Real frustrating. So working on a good, strong first move for the top guy. And I think one thing you hear a lot, you hear coaches always telling the bottom guy, hey, explode up on the whistle, hit a good first move on the whistle. It's the same thing on top. Don't be a floater. Be a guy who's explosive. He hits a good, hard first move, and it's a dominant first move. You're trying to really be tough, stopping his first move and looking to score immediately. Okay, so here's how it's going to look. I'll tell the bottom guy. And whenever we do a drill, top and bottom in our room, we go through the whole process. We want them to, we don't want to give up points because of caution. So every time I'll say, okay, bottom guy set, top guy cover, get set, go. Time. Okay, and this is it's going to be about a 2-3 second drill. Okay, and I want the bottom guy to maybe hit a little bit of a stand, try to explode up a little bit, but top guy's going to stop that first move. So again, bottom guy gets set, top guy cover, get set, go. Time, just like that. Do one more time here. And for the bottom guy, he can maybe give him a different look. He can hit a stand-up hard one time. He can maybe go to a sit-out or a changeover another time, just as long as the top guy's real aggressive with his first move. Bottom guy set. It's caution, top guy. See, got to be realistic. Okay, top cover. Get set, go. Time. There you go. So stopping that guy's first move, making sure you're just as explosive on the top as the bottom guy is underneath. Okay, some other drills we like to do, a couple of them that we spend a lot of time on. One is kind of more of a conditioning drill. We'll do some pummeling. A lot of times in the morning workouts, if our guys run sprints or get a good lift in, we'll say, okay, when you get done and do 200 pummels and 200 push-ups and you're done for the day. And pummeling basically just looks like this. Guys are both working for inside position here, just like that. Moving their feet, digging in, just like that. Time. That's what a pummel looks like. Just going back and forth right there, digging in. And it's good wrestling position. It's good working on wrestling fatigue right there. And something that we'll do towards the end of a workout a lot to just build up some endurance and kind of spend a little more energy at the end of a good workout. And another thing we spend a lot of time doing is we call it hand fighting. And I talked earlier about a 50% hand fight. At the end of a practice, I mean, to me, this is a lot of times one of the most intense parts of a practice is when we talk about getting into a hand fight situation. And really what you're doing is you're battling for position. And there's some different ways. I mean, you can tell guys, hey, you're going to battle for underhooks, or you can battle for to get to a front head. I mean, there's a lot of things, a snatch single, whatever you want. But most of the time for us, it's just battle for position. And that means you're going to do whatever you can to put yourself in better position than that guy. It's kind of like wrestling on your feet without taking a shot. So if you can get to an underhook, great. If you can pull him down, great. If you can push him up against the wall, great. I mean, it's a fight. It's a hand fight. So you get in there, and it's supposed to be real intense. So we'll just show you 5-10 seconds of what a good hand fight looks like here. Go ahead. Time. That's good. And you'll notice there, those guys, they're making contact. It's not about standing out in front of each other and faking. You make contact. You go and try to exert your dominance. You get to your ties and battle in there. And it gets intense. And that's part of the idea. Is it's supposed to be intense. It's supposed to be real tough. But it's also about winning the position when you're tired. Okay, last few drills here that we'll do. A lot of times, especially at the end of the year, as we get close to the national tournament time, or some of you high school coaches getting close to the state tournament time, is you want to be able to get good hard drills in, good hard practices in, without worrying about guys getting hurt. You want to make it really realistic if you can. Think about some situations that they're going to be in. So one thing we'll do is we'll go through some simulation type situations. So might be towards the end of the practice, and we'll give them some scenarios. Okay, so one guy in this situation, it's 30 seconds left to go in the match. You're on your feet. You need 2 takedowns to win the match. Okay, you need a takedown. You got to cut the guy and get another takedown. Now the idea is, as the partner, okay, the guy that needs the 2 takedowns, he's going 100%. The other guy, you have to be a good partner. We're still going to let him do it, but you have to give him some resistance here. You got to give him a little bit of a fight, or else you'll be done in 10 seconds, and you kind of defeat the purpose of the drill. Okay, so in this case, we got one guy. Okay, Chad needs 2 takedowns. We got 30 seconds. Jimmy's going to give him a little resistance. Here it is. Cut him hard. Got 5 seconds left. You got to ride him out. 3, 2, 1, time. There you go. Okay, and the idea there is wrestle it all the way to the end. If you end up getting those first 2 takedowns in the first 10, 15 seconds of the drill, that's fine, but then you have to keep them down, okay? Because you're still trying to win that match, all right? And you can simulate a whole bunch of different situations there. There was one, you need 2 takedowns in 30 seconds. You can go, it's 15 seconds, you need 1 takedown. One we'll do is you need an escape and a takedown, okay? So here's an example. One guy's down. You got 20 seconds left to go in the match. You need an escape and a takedown. Okay, bottom guy set. Top cover, set, go. 10 seconds to get one here. 3, 2, 1, time. That's real good right there. And it's a hard drill, and you can tell Chad made it tough on him. He didn't give up anything right there, but he had a good escape. He made him work for it. He got to his feet, didn't get the first shot, got the second one, and went and got the takedown, wins the match right there. And when we talk about at the end of the year, really put yourself in the situation. Make this as real. This isn't just in the wrestling room. This is the national tournament. It's the semifinals. You need an escape and a takedown to make the finals, to accomplish your goal, to get your dream. If it doesn't happen right here, you're wrestling on the backside. So really put yourself in that situation. Feel the real pressure that you're going to be under in that situation, and know with 100% confidence that, yeah, I can go ahead and accomplish this goal. Another scenario in this same type of drill would be for the top guy. We talked a little bit about earlier, stopping the first move. Okay, same type of thing here. This situation, maybe there's 15 seconds left in the match. You ride him out, you get riding time, you win the match. Or you got a 1-point lead, you ride him out, you win the match. But just as important as being able to get a takedown or get an escape is be able to keep a guy down at the end of a period or at the end of a match here. So same thing, and we'll remind him, hey, top guy, by the way, you have 2 cautions. Okay, so you got to be real smart here on the start. So 15 seconds, he rides him out, he wins. Bottom guy set. Top cover. Get set. Go. And 5 seconds to ride him. Time. Okay, another good example there. Bottom guy, he's continually moving. He's trying not to let himself get broke down. He hits a couple Grandviews there. He's really making the top guy work hard, but the guy rides him out and wins. And the reason I add some of that stuff in there with cautions, because it seems like those are the things right there. A lot of times we'll simulate the same type of thing. 2 guys are on their feet. You need a takedown, plus you need to get that guy called for stalling. Okay, so whatever, he's been warned. And he can do the same thing when you do live situations in practice. Okay, you got 30 seconds to go, match is tied, but one guy's been warned. It's 100% both guys, but one guy's been warned. So you either need to get a takedown or go get a stall call right there. So a lot of things like that you can incorporate into those types of drills or into your live wrestling that I think really translate well into a match situation. I think the last thing that we're going to talk about here is just mental drills. Okay. And what I mean by that is, it's a little bit different than your typical come in the room and work on takedowns and technique and all that, but just working on your mental attitude. And that, the nice thing about it is you can work on it anytime during the day. And at Grandview, we talk a lot about living a championship lifestyle and really just having a championship attitude in everything you do. And that means whether you're in class, you're taking notes, you're getting ready to prepare for a test, just wanting to be the best at everything you do, trying to dominate everything you do. Talk to our guys about when you walk across campus, be walking like a champion. Think I've got class. It's not, oh man, I got class today. It's gonna be so long and boring, and I hate this class. It's, oh man, this class I'm gonna dominate this class. I'm gonna be the first one there. I'm sitting in the front row. I'm gonna smile at the teacher. I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna, be ready, be prepared to be the best person in class. And so those are some things that I think we talk about a lot. And it goes beyond that. You talk about social networking. So many college students now are involved in Facebook and Twitter and the things they write, and you read it sometimes and man, it is like downer after downer after downer. And you try to remind your guys the things you say, the things that you write, that's what you become, so remind them, be that guy, no matter if you believe it or not, fake it, say something, maybe you don't believe it. Today's gonna be a great day. You woke up, you're tired, you feel a little bit sick, maybe you wore out from cutting weight, you had a tough workout the night before. I feel great today. Today's gonna be a great day. I love math. I can't wait to get to math class. You might not believe it, but you keep saying it over and over, and pretty soon you might trick yourself into believing it. Okay, so beyond that, then some things that we do, talking about mental training in the room is we do a lot of visualization. Okay, and so an example, if I have a couple guys in the room here with me, I have these guys lay down. We'll turn the lights off in the wrestling room, have them get comfortable, and kind of get to a point where we'll have a room full of guys and they're all spread out and they're just thinking, that we'll tell them, get focused, on a situation, a tournament situation. And early in the year, I'll talk them through this situation or through the visualization a lot more than I do at the end of the year. But early in the year, some things I'll remind them is, okay, imagine yourself you're at a tournament, it's early in the day and you're going through your warm-up, your normal warm-up routine. And some things to talk about are, okay, pay attention to what are the sounds? What do you hear at a wrestling tournament? What's it smell like? What's your body feel like? What kind of things are going through your head? And make sure everything that you see in this visualization is what it would actually look like from your perspective. This isn't just like you're watching yourself on TV. This is what it's going to look like from your eyes. And early on, I'll tell these guys, okay, some things that might help you see this picture a little bit clearer is imagine that you've got some knobs, just like the old school TV where you can turn the knobs up and maybe you need to turn the brightness up a little bit so you see everything a little bit brighter. You need to turn the clarity up. You got to tune in the picture a little bit. Everything's a little bit clearer. You got to turn the zoom up so it's not just out in front of you, but it surrounds you, your peripheral. Everything you see is this picture in front of you. And now you see this and you go through your typical warm-up. What things are going through your head? Are you nervous? Are you excited? How's your body feel? And focus on, how you want to feel. You're feeling energetic. You're feeling confident. You might be a little bit anxious, a little bit nervous, but it's not because you're not prepared, but it's because this is important to you. And you go through this scenario, and like I said, you make it as lifelike as possible. And then we'll go through, okay, now you're on deck. You're getting ready to wrestle. You're the next match, the match before you. You've got your ankle band on. You're pacing. You're going through your warm-up routine. You're telling yourself the things you tell yourself before a match. Whatever it is that you do. And we'll walk them through the whole situation. Okay, now it's your time to get out there. You take your T-shirt off. You've got your singlet on. You give the coach a high five. You walk on the mat, shake hands, wrestle. And we'll go through the whole situation. And we'll tell them, okay, focus on fighting through some tough positions, but still winning the battle. Things need to be real positive in this situation. And it's not easy, it's still tough, but you're still coming out on top. And focus on seeing it as clearly as possible. Early in the year, this might be hard for these guys. Their minds are going to wander. They've got other things going on in the day. They've got girlfriend problems. In a match situation, as we visualize this, they might lose focus 6 or 7, 8, 9, 10 times at first. Hopefully by the end of the year they can do this and they can stay in the moment, in that match 100% the whole time. So we'll go through the periods. I'll say time. Okay, second period, top, bottom, neutral to fur, bottom set, top cover, get set, go. And we'll go through all the way to the third period. And then when we get through the end of the third period, we'll tell the guys, okay, you go back to the middle, hustle back to the middle, shake the guy's hand, feel that ref raising your hand, you walk off the mat. Now focus on how good does that feel after that match. You see your coaches, you see your teammates, you see your friends and family, your girlfriends, all the people that supported you walking around that building and feeling confident about what just happened, feeling like your hard work just paid off, and focus on how good that feels. And it's something that we try to do often here in our room, but we really encourage them. Spend a lot of time. This is something you can do anytime during the day. You can do it before bed. And I think it really pays off. I'm a real believer in visualization and spending time on some mental training. Two last things I'm going to talk about here is, number one, building off that visualization and mental training is just the idea of positive affirmations. The things you tell yourself throughout the day, the things that your athletes are saying. And sometimes we try to make it structured. At the end of the practice, when we get done conditioning or wrestling live, I like to have my guys just walk. Just cool down, a little cool down walk. Sometimes we'll go through a jog, but even when we get done, we'll have them walk for a little bit. It's a chance to kind of reflect on practice. And during that time, I want them telling themselves, I'm the toughest guy in the nation. I can take down anybody. I can escape or reverse anybody. Nobody can ride me. Those are things that you can say over and over and over again. And sometimes we might just tell them, okay, here for the next 2 minutes, I want you telling yourself, I can take down anybody. We're just walking in the room, and you might say it just loud enough you can hear it. You might just say it to yourself, but either way, it's in your head. It's over and over. I can take down anybody. I can take down anybody. I can take down anybody. And you say it until you believe it. And then you get to, the next step. Like I said, it might be, I can escape or reverse anybody, or nobody can ride me, or, I'm going to win a national title this year. I'm going to win a state title this year. Whatever your goal is, you say it over and over and over until you believe it. It's going to happen. No one's going to stop me from winning my title. And I think it's another real powerful way to believe in yourself, to get yourself to build confidence, to understand that these things are going to happen. I work hard, I believe in myself, and it's absolutely going to happen. And I think another thing that's important, we talked about all these different drills and some things you can do, is learning how to drill. Sometimes we call it give and take, or some people call it sparring. And we saw a little bit of it when we were doing like a 50-50 hand fight and then get into a shot. Drilling lifelike. And I think that's what most of this was all about, was get into a position you're going to be in 1,000 times throughout the year, and knowing you're comfortable there, knowing you know how to react to it, and winning those positions and in the room when you're drilling, making it as lifelike as possible. I think that's really the whole goal with this here today. Hopefully these are some things that you can incorporate into your wrestling room that, a lot of them you're probably doing already. But I think these are some things that have helped us be real successful. And like I said, they're probably not the types of drills that are, just a practice type of drill. These are lifelike drills. I mean, this isn't just the old block and spin drill or the circle drill. This is something you're going to be in 100 times, in a month probably. So we want this to be something that our guys can apply. We want it to feel natural when they get in there in a match. And hopefully these are some things that you guys can incorporate into your room and will help you, accomplish the goals with your teams. And I think, wrestling's a small community, and I like hearing from coaches. So if you have questions about these things or want some further detail or some further technique, some ways you can use this or incorporate this in your room, don't be afraid to reach out to me and contact me anytime.